Welcome to Frontlist exclusive virtual book launch. Today we have Dr. Prasanna Chandra Gautam. Hi sir, how are you doing?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing great. So we are immensely glad to have you on board today for this exclusive virtual book launch. So guys, recently Dr. Prasanna sir published his book, The Story of Indian Philosophy. I have this book right now with me. The Story of Indian Philosophy. Congratulations, sir.
Thank you.
So let's just start with the introduction. Okay. So Dr. Prasanna Chandra Gautam, he has been studying ancient Sanskrit literature since 2005. Formerly, he was a consultant physician and a senior lecturer in medicine at Aberdeen University, Scotland, and an honorary professor of gerontology at Manmohan Memorial Institute of Health Sciences in Kathmandu. He was educated in Kathmandu, Varanasi, Bangalore, and the UK. He was born into an Orthodox Brahmin family in Nepal, where he grew up being familiar with the traditional customs and rituals. Being an experienced science researcher and teacher, he is well placed to interpret ancient Sanskrit texts and present them coherently and systematically. He has translated Rig Veda word from Sanskrit, word to word from Sanskrit into English, Nepali, and Hindi. He lives with his wife Leela in Everyday, Scotland. His exceptional work has made an enormous contribution to the literary world. In short, he has tried to fill a jar with all the waters of an ocean. So welcome, sir. Would you like to add something with the introduction, or that was enough?
Thank you very much. That is more than enough.
Okay. So, Prasanna sir, we would like to know about your book, The Story of Indian Philosophy. So what is this book all about?
Well, this book is about understanding our heritage and to see if the ancient philosophy can show us the way to overcome the present day difficulties, the deprivation, the wars, the hunger, the fight that's going on in the world today.
Okay.
If we can find some way out.
Okay.
That's what about the book is.
Okay. Thank you so much. So let's just start with the question answer round. So my first question: what does Indian philosophy teach us regarding the quality of life? Why is it important for young generation to connect with Indian philosophy? So since the pandemic, our life has been affected, and the quality of life has also changed in terms of mental and spiritual levels. So what would you like to say about it? Yeah.
Well, quality of life, as I understood in modern terms, suggests the availability of sophisticated physical amenities, such as sufficient funds or resources, nice, comfortable housing, furnishings, travel abroad, holidays, merrymaking, etc. We believe these are all essential things for one to have good life. But quality of living, as proposed by the ancient rishis in India, gave emphasis to the mental and spiritual well-being, and did not give a great deal of importance to physical amenities.
Okay.
Now, your question is, why is it important today in the world?
Right.
I said that earlier, this pandemic has shown us how there are so extremely poor people even in the most rich countries. And death did not differentiate between anybody,
Right.
the rich or poor of one religion or the other religion. It told us that we're all the same human beings, no matter where we are.
Right.
But how is it that some of us did so well and others did so badly, even in the same family? So, you see, the former concept of quality of life precipitates greed, conflicts, wars,
Okay.
whereas the quality of living has a different emphasis. But then, if we go for the quality of living and not for the modern day quality of life, and be equal to the Jones or the neighbors or the friends,
Right.
that can also generate a feeling of insecurity within oneself,
I guess bliss,
you know,
bliss, the true bliss, the happiness.
that's right. And one feels inadequate or failed. So it's very difficult to balance the two. Now, Buddha told us to take the middle way, and he gave 2,500 years ago, 700 years ago, he showed the path. Those of us who have been able to balance quality of life concept and quality of living concept call that their lifestyle as simple living. So this information that I'm trying to put together in my book is to help people, young people like yourselves, to find your own way forward, to see what is it that you would like to balance yourself. What would be your priority? How would you like to spend the rest of your life? In which way will that be more meaningful to you? So that's the purpose.
Okay. So I have one question. So since you have written such a vast knowledge book on a vast knowledge of Indian philosophy,
Yeah.
as you a person, did you actually preach or did you actually follow the path of true bliss, quality of living? In a nutshell, you know, renounce all the physical amenities, renounce the social relation, society. So have you applied this thing into your life?
No, that is not the meaning of quality of living. The phase that you are describing is described in Indian ancient philosophy as sannyasashram. That is the final phase of renunciation. I haven't reached that phase yet in my life.
Okay, okay.
Okay? My life at the moment is more of a retired life.
Right.
I have not given up any of those things that you mentioned. No. But I have drawn a line on how far I will go in securing those wonderful pleasures of life, and how far can I be a bit more restrained in myself in terms of those activities and try to focus myself on my own personal, psychological, spiritual needs.
Okay. Okay. So thank you so much, Prasanna sir. So in Indian philosophy, we have two terms. One is true knowledge and second is false knowledge. Right?
Yeah.
So could you please explain more about it and how it is connected with the Indian philosophy?
See, the true knowledge and false knowledge is actually a near enough translation of the Sanskrit terms called vidya and avidya.
Okay.
Now, you have to go back a few thousand years to understand the background of that. Those who believed in the Vedic mantras, particularly the mantras of the Rig Veda, they wanted to practice the culture and the life, the format that was taught by the Vedic rishis.
Okay.
And they were one. But then subsequently, what happened was the things began to go a bit away from the ancient Vedic concepts,
Okay.
and rituals began to appear. Now, during Vedic concept, there was no middleman. You had your own God, you worshipped the God the way you liked it. You did not have a temple, you did not have a church or mosque or anything, and you could choose. There were 30 or 34 gods, I think, but then the gods could be anything who was good, who
Okay.
did good. That included even a mortar and a pestle, a, a plow, a frog, anything, a rain clouds, wind, rain. It didn't really matter. What mattered was what good have they done to everybody. So those who did good became Devata, and you could choose any of them and worship in your own house a few times a day and felt happy about it. Subsequently, slowly the culture of organized religion started. And in that religion, they said that there must be a priest, there must be a middleman. So that even if performed whatever you wish to perform, all your penance or all your pujas or whatever, unless it was done by a qualified person, a rightful person, it will not reach your God. And you will not get the desired effect or result. So now, which is true? So the ones who followed the organized religion, the priesthood, or the Brahminism is what I have said in the book, they said, our concept is a true concept. Ours is Vidya. But those who believed in the original Vedic custom, Vedic concept, they said, no, ours is a true Vidya.
Okay.
And this produced volumes of Upanishads. Whereas the Brahmin priests produced volumes of Brahman books, which are scriptural books, which are like manuals of how to conduct this puja or that yajna or that ritual or whatever. So each one called I am the true one. So those Upanishads said they were the proponents of true knowledge or Vidya. And they said the God, they gave the new name now called Brahma. It's Brahma, which is everything. Whereas, and you can reach Brahma directly through your own penance, through your own.
I have one question. Since you grew up in an Orthodox Brahmin family, so you must have followed some set of rules of worshiping God. So must be Vedic literature, like you said. Yeah. So in a Brahmin family, that you follow Vedic literature. So I would like to know, since your childhood days until now, how many times do you worship? Actually worship, how many times a day?
I don't worship any particular way anymore.
No. Okay.
No, I do not. I am not following any Brahmin religion anymore. Once I began to know what it is all about.
So you renounce the worshipping God? Totally.
No, I have my own God, my own method, and I will do whatever I please.
So do you consider yourself as a God believer or not? Since you are following your own set of rules. So do you consider yourself as a God believer right now?
You see, believing in God is not believing in religion.
Okay.
That is the crux of Vidya and Avidya. The true knowledge or Vidya doesn't make it necessary for you to follow any religion at all, any organized religion.
Okay.
I no longer follow any organized religion.
Okay. So you have reached
That doesn't
your
mean
true
that doesn't
knowledge.
sorry.
So you have reached a true knowledge.
It
Sort
is
of.
not. It is not that I have reached true knowledge. Now I know the purpose of an organized religion. I want to get myself out of it.
Okay. So from okay. So do you consider yourself as an iconoclast or a pious person? So, so please explain it.
Okay. You see, pious person or iconoclast denotes kind of a negative trait in a person. Person who is not only just not a not believer, but also is a bit destructive person. Overall, it doesn't give a good feeling. The pious person conventionally is regarded as a very religious person. Now, I am neither an iconoclast, neither a pious person.
So you're not.
Because you know, I am a student of science. I want to know the truth. I'm searching for the reality of what people say, what is written in the books, and to see how deep I can go and find out the answers. And if I bind myself to these various dogmas, and if I begin to worry about what people talk about me, which category they want to put me, where is my independence?
I totally agree with you. I couldn't agree more. Yeah. Okay. So your journey with Indian philosophy, when did you start your journey?
Okay.
And who motivated you the most to explore the complexities of Indian civilization and their evolution?
Well, I began to be seriously interested in this when I was 17, a young lad. I joined Ramakrishna Mission Hostel, and there I found out that, and I had gone there after being very much impressed by Swami Vivekananda's teaching,
Okay.
where he said a healthy mind is essential, right? And healthy body and healthy mind both are essential. And I went, and I was very happy for the first few months. And there I saw the total arrogance of the Swamijis, the arrogance and total disregard for boys like us. And then I began to read. And then when I read the literature about spirituality, and particularly the things written by the Indologists, the Western Indologists about religion and spirituality, I found that there were lots of wrong interpretations, wrong things. So I decided that I should do self-study and my own research. So that's why I drew my line from a working life, earning for a living, when I could live with whatever resources I already had. And then I began studying and researching, and I have put forward whatever I have learned so that somebody else also may benefit.
It must have been hard for you, making time for reading Indian philosophy, profoundly and working life. But you explored the path of philosophical thing on an Indian level. So I have one question, more question. That modern philosophy, if we talk about Greek philosophy and Indian philosophy, they're two different things. And the Indian philosopher has discovered Indian philosophy. Uh, but the thing is, in urbanization, because of westernization, our thoughts are evolved right now. We are evolved totally, like at western level, and we are losing away or drifting away from our Indian culture roots. So do you really think that the Greek philosophy has enough power to change our mindset, to change the Indian philosophy?
You'll be surprised that at that high level of understanding, the great philosophers of the past, whether they are Chinese, Greek, or Indian, thought similarly.
Okay.
The timeline were different. At that time, there was no possibility to travel so easily as now. There was no media, there was no communication. So things, But you see, when people realize what is the truth, they said it, whether they were Greek, whether they were Indians, or whether whatever. And also, let us not forget that the geographical things and political areas and geographical areas were not clearly demarcated the way it is now. For example, Greek philosophy was actually Athenian philosophy. Most of the Athenians were the philosophers. And they say Greek, but there are lots of Romans too are involved. So I have deliberately kept myself away from comparing the two philosophers. But if you like, there's another book published earlier called The Reflections on Contemporary Values, Beliefs, and Behaviors. The book before this. There I have discussed these issues in a bit more relevant manner.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Prasanna, sir. So the main, you have already, just mentioned that this book is for us, for the young generation who wants to, understand the Indian philosophy. So this is the main idea behind writing this book, right? So what made this book offer someone who has never read any Indian philosophical works?
Okay. You see, first of all, you need to be interested to know what it is all about. Now, let us say just for an example, if you call yourself an Indian, for example, then what is it that makes you an Indian? What is the
Indian.
just because you are born in this country?
I feel like this is the main reason. I'm born in this country, born and brought up. That is why I call myself Indian.
Okay, so that's fine. So if you want to limit yourself to that level, there's no problem at all. You don't need my book. But if you want to know why, what is it that you have inherited?
Okay.
What is it that has shaped your psychology? What is it in your DNA, in your chromosomes? That what have you inherited in that level for generations in the past?
Okay.
Then you'll be pleased to know that you are still a part of that society, which is the oldest society in the world today, which has lasted nearly 8,000 years at least,
Wow.
and still alive and well and continuing in its modified form, but original form, with original values. No other society like this exists in the world. So why is it that you are unique? Now, if you are interested to know that, you should read the book.
And I must say, I'm very impressed. And when I was, going through with your book, and I've read few chapters as per according to you. So yeah, I was intrigued that yeah, I would like to know more about Indian philosophy. And after interviewing you, and I'm thinking I should read Indian philosophy and should know the culture, actual Indian culture and Indian civilization. So you have mentioned two epics, Mahabharata and Ramayana, in your book.
Yeah.
So how has Mahabharata and Ramayana, taught us about the Indian civilization, and how does it, bring change in understanding of Indian philosophy?
See, Mahabharata was written by Vedavyasa. There he has depicted all the horrible atrocities that was going on during that time. Things had become so very bad that, and he was very unhappy about it. And he wanted to show how that leads to the destruction of the whole social order. So as a result, all the brothers, all the Kshatriyas, the huge war of Kurukshetra, everybody got killed. The Brahmins, the Kshatriyas, the whole lot got killed.
Yeah.
And even those supposed to be very pious people, like Yudhishthira, had to go to hell first.
Right. Yeah.
Okay? So that was not the right thing to do, to have a war like that. And he gave a summary of the basic. Ramayana also was probably 100 years or so later in another part of the Indian geographical subcontinent,
Right.
where there were two issues going on. One was the Tantrism, and the other one was the traditional Brahmin yogic customs. And although Ravana was born a Brahmin, he was the greatest tantric. So there perhaps Ramayana depicts practically two things to me. One, Valmiki, who was another great social reformer, he tried to point out or try to project the best qualities of a human being, the man, and how an ideal man, an ideal husband, the ideal king, what should be the ideal person, ideal brother, etc. But on the other hand, he was not so very kind to the women. He projected Sita as a very docile, very quiet, obedient woman, depicting how women perhaps were treated those days. That they had to go and give themselves a fire test, etc., Agni Pariksha, and suffer the humiliation of all the things, leave the house when you're still pregnant, and so on. So it showed the social injustice and social currents, at that time. And what happened? Innocent, all those monkeys and bears and all that, thousands of them died. All those demons, all those tantrics died. And his brother was about to be killed himself. Somehow he got saved. So things were not very good. And both of these great social reformers are trying to tell us, look, this is what happens if you fight, if you take the wrong route. Now, just like Mahabharata, Gita, Ramayana, Vashishta, the great philosopher, he gave the lesson on yoga. So Yoga Vashishta it's called. It has not become very popular because Westerners didn't understand it. So the Indian scholars didn't really bother much about it.
Okay. Thank you so much, Prasanna sir. So before winding up this session, I have one last question. How are modern philosophers different from ancient philosophers? Where do these philosophical theories stand in the self-centered world?
Philosophy is a way of life. The theories are only useful if one tries to follow them. But as you said, they are theories, and you have to determine your own values, your own belief systems, and do it accordingly. The philosophers, whether of the past or of the present, are trying to bring out the issues for you to ponder, for you to think about. And if you don't have time for all that, you just have to follow whatever, blindly. And that may not suit you.
Okay. Okay. So at last, do you have any message to the readers?
Well, I'm not a preacher. Because of my science background too, I've been a researcher. But that means, unless you are inquisitive, unless you want to know things. So my message perhaps to my friends would be, let us not extinguish the innate flame of curiosity within us by following blindly the faith or superstition.
Thank you so much, Prasanna sir. Even I am feeling very moved right now, and I'm planning to read more this book. I've read a little, but will read more, and I will try to understand the nuances of Indian philosophy.
Sure.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much for joining us today. And I have learned so much today. So I would like to say to everyone, please read this book. It's very amazing if you would like to explore the world of Indian philosophy and the path of true bliss. If you are trying to find in your life, so it's a must read book. And thank you so much, Prasanna sir.
You're
Thank
very
you.
welcome. Thank you.
Have a good day.